Hello. This is your pal, Edward Z is speaking of my wonderful friends, Sharada and Tony from Tasmania, Australia. How are you today, Sharada and Tony?
We are wonderful. We are really very excited here in Tasmania. It's beautiful, it's peaceful, and life is just wonderful.
And I feel very excited, Ed. We really got a pristine area here. We look outside the window there and we see this beautiful bay. It's the perfect working space for us, right? We love it.
It's funny where it's kind of funny we're having this conversation. So you heard about what happened to me on Friday night, didn't you? Did you hear about what happened to me on Friday night?
No, tell us.
No, we missed on that.
Yeah. So what happened to me? I flew from. I had to fly from Sydney to Melbourne to run our business networking meetup on Friday, and then Virgin Airlines had a big strike, and I couldn't get home that night. And there were no flights back to Sydney, so I had to stay overnight at a hotel. And they sent me back to Sydney via Launceston. So I was in Launceston for 3 hours on Saturday, and then they sent me back to Sydney. And I just got to say, Tasmania, I was blown away by how quiet, natural, and pure Tasmania is. I got to say, it's a very rare place on earth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very pristine, and we're very lucky because it's no hustle or bustle where we live. It's just really quiet. That's one of the things that we noticed.
Now,
did you want to add anything to that?
Fresh air.
The fresh air too. It's perfect, and it never gets too hot.
That's the other thing that's wonderful.
Even when it's in Melbourne, it might be 30, or in New South Wales, I heard through one of my colleagues that it was 43 over there once. Here, it struggles to get to 30, right? It'd be 20 something, right?
Right now, it's 30 degrees outside. See there?
Yeah.
Yes.
30
yes.
degrees right now.
No.
And right now, it would be about 15, right?
Nah, yeah.
16 or something.
Yeah, but it's just beautiful because it doesn't get overly hot, and and it's just
it's a different
lovely.
sort of climate too. Like I play tennis a lot. You play on the tennis court and you get so hot. Like the sun's got a lot more intensity. That's what I've heard from other people. And you finish up getting sunburn and stuff like that really easy in Tasmania if you're not careful. It can be very deceptive.
There we go. Now it's interesting, and a bit of backstory. I've been honoured to know Sharada and Tony for years. And if you've just come in, by the way, smash that like, share, and comment. Connect with Sharada and Tony, wonderful friends of ours. And you guys are Melburnians who moved to Tasmania to open a wellbeing community centre. Tell us about your wellbeing community centre that you've opened in Tasmania, where you live, of course, as well.
Well, we invested quite a bit in it, especially like our life savings. I can tell you now, we've spent over $500,000 on it, right? And
Wow.
so basically what we did was that we built a wellbeing centre. Because one of the things that we found in Victoria was that, as you know, we had Dan Andrews, and we had 2 years of lockdowns, and our business suffered because of that, because we run health retreats, and obviously we couldn't sort of run those sort of things when you have lockdowns. And we thought, wow, here's an opportunity for us. So we went down to Tasmania and we finished up buying a beautiful property, and we had the vision to say, well, let's make this into our wellbeing centre. Therefore, we don't have to worry about getting venues and things like that because we've got it already. And so we've built this beautiful thing. Sharada heard about the energy enhancement system, and we said, wow, let's put our hand in the pocket and invest in that. And that's what we did. We did it because we wanted to sort of make a big difference. And that's what we're about. We want to make a difference to humanity, and we want to help people move forward. And it took probably 6 months to sort of get it up and going. And we were there watching all the different stages. We saw the framework go up, and we took pictures of it. And eventually we got there. So it's been a really good story for us. And then we opened up in pilot mode, and a lot of the community people came and saw it. And we've had a lot of really good stories. And one was with my wife, Sharada. She was involved in a car accident. She broke her breast. sternum, and the doctor said, "Oh, it's going to take what
6 weeks,
6 weeks,
6 weeks or so before I could feel better." And the amazing thing is this: is that I think it's almost like providence or universe working something out for us that we have nothing, we have no clue about. 2 weeks after the car crash was when we had our EE system installed. Those lovely screens at the back there that you can see around the room.
Now, I
That's
want to
the
go back to, if I can jump in there, I want to go back to your accent. So I had no idea you had a car accent, sorry, but I'm just going to bookmark and go back to the conversation. Tell us
Sure.
about the energy system first, because that sets up
Yeah.
the rest of our conversation. So tell us all about the energy system, then we'll go back into your accident and your cellular regeneration.
Yeah. So basically, 2 weeks after my accident, we had those 24 energy enhancement system units installed in our place. And then I spent most of the 3 days because I could barely walk. It was so painful, breathe and anything. But I was in the room for 3 days. And it's like the pain totally healed. And that for me is like a confirmation of possibilities, because I know that when you fracture a bone, it hurts for a long time.
And
So
also bear
jumping
mind,
in there,
she's been a nurse.
Gotcha. So just jumping in, so you've got an energy. Tell us about this energy healing room. How does the energy healing room work and all that?
Okay, so basically the energy enhancement system uses scalar waves, and then it uses color and light and sound, and it's a combination of all of them. And if you look at the systems up there at the back, you will see that they are all lined up beautifully, and every pair kind of faces each other in perfect synchronicity, because it has to be perfectly in line. And then the light photons will meet each other in the middle, and it will then have a beautiful fountain of light. And it's just gorgeous. And so then as we sit in this room and we relax, the scalar waves and all those different frequencies will help our cells. It charges the mitochondria, so it ups the voltages in our cells, which is very helpful for health. And then it also helps our DNA to repair itself. And then it actually also helps us to relax, because they have found out that by being in the room, people who suffer from anxiety or depression always come out of the room feeling lighter and calmer. And so this is just incredible, because as you know, stress is the most kind of like
it's the 90
doctor biggest killer.
It's 97% of all illnesses are caused by stress.
Has a stress related thing. And so to have something where you can come and sit in it for a couple of hours, and it helps you to rebalance and to feel better, to feel more relaxed. It's just a very simple way of supporting and nurturing health.
The bottom line is it allows your cells to be strong enough to do the things that it needs to do to heal you. It's allowing your body to heal itself naturally.
So just so in simple terms, it's an energy projection system which we can see around you, and what it does is that as you relax in that room, that energy projection system helps your mitochondria, which is part of your cells. It helps with cellular regeneration. Is that a fair way of putting it?
Oh yeah, yes. A very simple way of doing it is that our cells, when we are not well, the voltage in our cells is lower than normal. So when you come in this room, it will charge your mitochondria up so that your cells can have the energy to heal itself, really.
And part of it is detoxing as well. So as the cells are performing better, it can detox and get rid of the things that it doesn't need in the system, in its system. So that's one of the things. The voltage goes up, so it can do more, and so what it does, it cleans you as well.
Fascinating. Now, it's funny, actually, as a segue, and I'm going to come back to that accident. That was sorry to hear it, but fascinating, right? So, as I don't know if you've noticed, but I've lost heaps of weight lately. I actually finished a 60-hour fast, and I'm actually fasting
Very
again,
good.
right? And now, I'm not comparing this to your energy technology, but I'm just saying this as a reference. Is that I've found that when you fast for a while, you start that detoxing effect. Like it stimulates your mitochondria when you fast as well. How does sort of fasting work as well? How does this work? I'm just using that as a comparison. Is it kind of similar or is it kind of different?
Yeah, with fasting, it gives your stomach a rest. And so what you're actually doing is, instead of putting all your energy in trying to digest food, your energy can be put into your immune system and your cells so that they actually can work better. And by working better, it moves all the impurities and toxins out of your body. As you know, one of the things you do as part of fasting is you drink lots of water, and it helps flush your system. And that's probably the simplest way. Did you want to add any more to that, Sharon?
Yeah, like everything that we do in terms of nurturing ourselves is very helpful. And when we combine like the energy enhancement system with all the other aspects of our healing and rebalancing, it just magnifies the benefits, because when we come into the room, we also are not distracted, because it's recommended that we sit down, relax, and close our eyes. And so the mind doesn't have to be super busy being distracted with things outside. Then then the cells can work better, because there's no busy mind that's being distracted with everything, and it just allows the cells to focus on the body, which is very helpful in terms of improving your health.
Now going back to your car accident now, and sorry to hear that. So explain to us how you use your energy system to help you recover from the fallout of your tragic accident.
Well, because what the energy system does is that it charges up our mitochondria, which means that our cells has more charge, more energy to function with. And so with the fractured sternum, like if I was busy doing other things, like if I was being distracted out there, getting stressed and everything, then the energy that's left for the cells to work on itself is less. So by spending more time in the room, I am not distracted, I'm not stressed by external stuff. My cells was able to just keep working on healing itself. And that's why in 3 days, my sternum that was predicted as going to take at least 6 weeks of pain before it gets better was all better in 2 weeks and 3 days. So basically 2 weeks of torture and pain, and then 3 days in the energy enhancement system, and totally healed. So for me, that's a confirmation that there is a possibility of speeding up the healing process in the body.
Wow. And how did it come across from your viewpoint, Tony? What did you see from your viewpoint of your poor wife in her advanced regeneration chamber healing? Sounds a bit like a science fiction film. I can imagine you with a sword as well, focusing on your enemies and revenge. Sorry, I had to bring that up.
Well, what was happening was that I noticed that when Sharada had the fractured sternum, like in bed and that, she was in absolute agony when she tried to roll over to the other side and things like that. And she stayed in the EES room as much as she could. And I noticed that she started moving around a lot more than what she does. I call her the hurricane because she loves to do everything and everything. And she was starting to regain a lot of her pace and things like that. So I noticed that she was getting better and better. And I was just completely blown away that in 3 days that she was completely. She seemed like she was completely healed. It was
Mm.
it was like a miracle. It just shows you how good your body is if you'll let it perform like it should perform.
Mm. Mm.
And the problem is we live in a toxic soup. Um, in the cities and things like that, we breathe in all the air
Right.
pollution and all the toxins and stuff like that. You know, we live in a toxic soup, and we need that time to take the breathers that we need to take that break to regenerate and rebalance ourselves. That's more or less what we'd like to see more people do, and like care for themselves. We have a lot of clients, and if you ask them how much time do they devote for their well-being, it's right down
Yeah.
the bottom of the list. It's, you
Yeah.
know, the first thing that they think about is it's either their family or their finances,
Yeah.
um, and it's all stress, stress, stress. I've got to work really hard because I've got to send my son to school and so forth and so forth. And as you know, with some of the businesses, they work their people really pretty hard these days. You know, it's just too much stress out there,
Well,
and stress and toxins.
well, on that note, I live in Sydney, as you know, right? And we live 6.8 kilometers from the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So basically, drive to the Sydney Harbour Bridge in 11 minutes, right? No problem. No problem. Assuming there's no heaps of traffic, or it'll take you hours, right? And I say this with absolute tragedy and respect, and this actually happened to one of our friends. Sydney has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, right? And this is not my and what's tragic about this is I have known people who have committed suicide. I'm talking about I've known at least two this year that have done
Yep.
that. And I know what I'm saying is very extreme, but I couldn't agree with you more. It's especially in the world that I live in, right? The world that I'm from. In a way,
Yeah.
self-care is even frowned upon, right?
That's right.
Some people argue, I'm condemning this, of course. I'm condemning this type of thinking. I couldn't agree with you more. And I was having this good conversation with one of our friends, Alice Cheng, I was just meeting with before our live stream, and how she was saying she comes from an Asian background. Alice Cheng wouldn't mind me saying this, but she's comes from an Asian background. She used to be a big CFO, and in her world, self-care is a form of selfishness because
Yep.
you shouldn't be self-caring. You should be working. And I'm like, it's such a dangerous type of thinking our society has been caught up with. What do you all think of that?
Well, I think well-being should be always number one,
Yeah.
because if you're not at your best, you just think about it. If you're fatigued, and that's another big thing, a lot of people workplace are tired. They've had such they couldn't sleep, or they've done something in a very stressful situation, and they're probably functioning at 60 or 70% of it, or what they could be. I look at
I
it
reckon
like,
it's 30. I reckon it's 20, 30%. I reckon 60 or 70% would be awesome.
that's right. Well, and the thing is, just going back to suicide, I'm also associated with a non-for-profit called the Global Youth Mental Health Awareness,
Oh,
and there's a
you
lot
are
of
too.
suicides,
Yeah.
which I know in Melbourne happened, especially during the lockdowns and things like that. You can imagine business owners and families, because of the lockdowns, businesses went under. We had family businesses, and then a lot of family breakups and things like that. And there's a lot of suicides which were never reported. And if you take stats from all the other organisations, you'll find that suicides were pretty high during those rates, during those times. And it's the whole thing's goes back down to stress.
Yeah.
Stress is the thing that causes all these things. If it's
Yeah.
prolonged stress, that's where diseases happen.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that we try and we teach at our health retreats, how important it is to get back to your normal balanced life. It's moderation. It's giving yourself time to heal. It's so important that we do that. When you think about it, What's stopping us from doing half an hour of our time just
Mm.
devoted to our well-being? It could
Yeah.
be with our well-being, just going for a walk and just admiring nature. It could well be just going down to the gym and just help with your fitness and things like that. Or it could well be that you just have that meditation session, that quiet session, that you just blank your mind out and just let your body heal itself. 30 minutes in a day.
Mm.
Surely everyone can find time for that. It
Yeah.
would make a hell of a difference to people.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny you say that. I have this now again. I'm not. And by the way, I'm not trying to compete with you guys because I've sucked in terms of well-being, right? So I'm
Yeah,
hardly competing with you guys in your knowledge. Like, interestingly, during the whole COVID lockdowns, I put on 20 kilos. My self-care went to the dogs, right? And interestingly, I was just saying before, I'm now pretty much back to where I was pre-lockdown, and I've been basically fasting and everything. I even did a 60-hour fast the other day. Now, interestingly, and this is, I remember falling for this con, right?
mm,
We often get brainwashed to think, oh, I'm just too busy. I don't have half an hour a day, right? But everyone's got half an hour a day to watch TV. They've got half an hour a day to shove in junk food. I certainly did. You
yeah,
know, I didn't have half an hour a day to work on my well-being, but I had half an hour a day to watch crap on YouTube.
yeah, that's right. I think it's something that we need to sort of look at, and that's
Mm,
character strength is self-discipline.
mm,
Now, what's stopping us from getting up half an hour early to do that?
yeah.
You're all, I know a lot of the CEOs and that what they do, they do value their well-being. My son's a personal trainer. He knows a lot of CEOs that come down the gym really early in the morning, like 6 a.m. and just do a really good workout. The sweating and the body's really, got rid of a lot of the toxins and stuff out, and they've been doing weights, so they're strengthening themselves up. These type of things are really good for you. And
Mm,
in your business, you know a lot of personal trainers, and you know they they do a lot of really beneficial things
mm.
for people, and it's all to do with mindset. Believe it or not, it's all mindset. You've just got to have the mindset to say, well, I want to be at my best, and to be at my best, I need to have supreme well-being.
Yeah,
And supreme well-being is in four areas. It's getting the right mindset. It's
yeah.
getting the right diet. It's having the right emotional state. And it's also very important is the spirituality side, which we all tend to forget. And the
Mm,
spirituality side is being one with nature. So it
mhm,
doesn't mean it's religious. It could, but it doesn't mean to. But it's also honouring nature and getting back, the acceptance and doing the moral, the ethical, moral things that we need to do. So you feel
mm,
good about yourself. So you're happy. So you're purposeful. Those are the
mhm,
type of things that we've got to need to keep on thinking about.
mm. No, brilliant.
So hopefully that helps.
Yeah. Now, I've got a question for both of you. The same question for both of you. I want to hear Sharada's reaction first, right? And this is actually aimed at a lot of my Sydney friends. Again, I'm from a big, beautiful city. I'm from a city with one of the highest suicide rates in the world. Yeah, basically all the health, mental problems we've got it in Sydney. We focus on creating as many health problems as possible, right? As much as it's a beautiful city. To someone who's listening who's very unhealthy now, be it they're anxious, they're fat, they're biting their nails, they know their health isn't right. Starting with you, Sharada. What do you say to people, anyone listening whose health is really at the bottom and they're at that real trough and valley of addiction and being out of control? What do you say to them to start turning that around?
Well, I would say that, you know, we have the gift of life and we are responsible for it, really. And so if we like a better life, then we can go for it because nobody else is going to do it for us.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and it's so easy to go into the poor me, I'm
Yeah.
this or I'm that or I'm that. at the same time, though,
I'm getting a bit nervous now, Sharada, but carry on. I'm starting to get a bit nervous as you bring up this topic, but carry on.
yeah. No, but it's actually not. It's like for me, really, I mean, the most helpful thing is to begin with finding one thing in life that we could be grateful
That's
for.
right.
Just one thing. And then with that one thing, we can expand on that. Like, what are we grateful for and what is it doing for us? Like, what is it doing for us? And then from there, we can start adding on, like, what's the next thing we could be grateful for? And because I think what happens with a lot of us, if we're so preoccupied with the poor me, we cannot see the greater things around us. Like when we go out into nature and sit under a tree or just walk next to I mean, Sydney, I loved Sydney Harbour.
So do I.
The water, just
beautiful.
We
the
love the
trees.
trips.
Just go do something that allows us to feel a little bit better and to come out of that space of poor me. And just by doing that, just one little thing a day, just find something that we're grateful for and do something that brings joy. And it doesn't have to be big, just a little thing. And that's a good first step.
Yeah. And before I ask Tony the same question, a few reactions to what you said, and that's to me one of the contradictions of Sydney. I moved to Sydney. I love Sydney, right? Don't mean to diss Sydney, but it's true. Sydney's such a beautiful city with so much nature, yet we're all still caught up in that New York and style of living, which is all bigger cars, more mortgages, more houses. So, and again, Sydney has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, which is tragic. Obviously, we all condemn it, doing what we can to help it. And when you talk about victim mentality, as you talked about victim mentality, I started getting nervous and I started feeling very insecure because I've been very guilty of that. Now, I've been very, very, and this is wrong, and I'm saying this obviously with shame. I've played the victim a lot in my life, like, oh, poor Ed, poor me, poor as that. Just another side question, victim mentality. How do we get over victim mentality? Because I know a lot of really good people like me who we play the victim. We don't mean to, but we do it. How do we stop it?
It's kind of like we are given this this mental capacity to have vivid imagination. So instead of imagining and focusing on poor me, we can make a choice. I think a lot of times we forget that we are so powerful that we can make a choice. And the choice is this: do I want to feel miserable and stay miserable, or do I want to see a change? And when we become aware
Pretty
of
straightforward. Can't argue with that logic.
no, the power of choice, we are not taught that, Ed. We are not taught when we are little that we have this power to choose. And we are not taught that choosing one thing is better than doing nothing. Because when we do one thing, even if it's not perfect, we can change our mind again and do something else. And then life can become this adventure of just try something. And if it doesn't work, try something else. And have this sense of let's explore the unknown. I mean, that's me anyway. I find the unknown fun because we don't know what to expect, but we're going to do it anyway.
Sharada, there you go. Oh, Tony, you married a very powerful lady. Not that I need to remind you of that. There you go. You got great taste in women, Tony. Tony, what's your reaction to all this? I'd love to hear your reactions.
Well, I think just going back to the first question about if you write down the bottom, what you can do is just do little baby steps forward. You don't have to do a giant step. first of all is to love yourself, and that's difficult, isn't it? And the thing is,
Well, just on that, we're taught if you love yourself, you're a narcissist and you're selfish.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is, love something with yourself, right? Even if you just go back into time, as long as you're good or you can do something that's you think you're a master at, right? It might be that you could be a master in tennis player, or you could be a master in cooking, or you could be a master in sewing. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're a master at something. You could be a master table tennis player. Who knows? But the thing is, you feel good in something, and you could be in the plants and things like that. So what's one thing is feel good, and that's where you want to go, because really, when you feel good, that's your passion. That's that's what you're there for. That's your purpose. And once you've got a purpose, that makes things different. The other thing too is when you find your purpose, you'll find happiness. But the thing is, just do these little one steppers. Like I echo what Sharad has said. I think you play as though you're empowering yourself. Respond rather than react is another good one. In other words, if you've got a problem, instead of reacting, going back to your old thing of what you might do, it could be you might have a bad habit. If something bad happens, you walk over to the fridge and you pull out a jam donut or whatever, right? Instead of doing that, you say to yourself, okay, this thing happened. What can I do? Oh, I can plan something. When this thing makes me unhappy, I can go for a walk down to the park. I can do this. I could read a book. I could do this. Do something that you love doing.
So you're saying try and interrupt the toxic patterns. Of the toxic pattern we have, do something to try and interrupt it.
That's right. And respond with a positive plan. And that's the key to everything. Don't react. Don't go back to the old way. Go to a new way. Whenever there's a little trigger, be very gentle with yourself. Love yourself. Doesn't matter if you fall over. Remember, you're resilient. You're here. You've made it through. Well, look back at all the things that have gone wrong. You're still here.
Yeah.
Still here, right? And it doesn't matter what state you're in, how bad you are, you can recover.
There you go.
Just by doing little steps, little baby steps. Just do one thing that's going to be nurturing for you. Just one. So if you improve 1% every day, in 100 days, you're going to be a lot better than what you were when you started, right? That's all you got to do. Just be gentle and just recognize that sometimes how life is. It's one step forward and two back. Then the next day you might go 2 steps, but 2 steps back the next day. But as long as you go like a little curve, you just go gradually getting better and better and better. So the thing is to focus on your well-being. Be the best that you can be. Be the CEO of yourself. That's one of our famous things, that our sayings. Be the CEO of yourself. Don't let yourself fall down. Just recognize what you're doing. Stay in the moment. Hopefully that helps a bit.
Brilliant. Now, I was going to say big thank you, Shara and Tony, to everyone watching, be it you're watching now or the recording, big thank you. Please hit that like, share, and comment, say hello. Connect with Shara, Rumi, and Tony Neale, great husband and wife power couple. We'll close up now, Tony and Shara, but before we do that, we were speaking before off camera, you've got a fantastic remote healing offer for anyone watching. Please tell us all about your remote healing offer, how it works, and how people can get in touch with you to take it forward. And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring up our legendary slides from earlier. So tell us all about the offer. And on screen, everyone, is some information about Tony and Sharada. So over to you. Let us know about your offer.
Okay, so we have this wonderful 24-unit energy enhancement system. And you can find out a little bit more on our testgracesanctuary.org website as well. And what we'd like to offer our wonderful listeners is that you are welcome to send us an image of yourself with your birth date and your name, of course, with a phone number, and we will put your image and information into what we call our EE system healing basket. So this allows for remote healing from the energy of the scalar waves and everything. As you all know, energy does not have a boundary as such. So remote healing is an incredible way of receiving healings from wherever you are in the world. So you're welcome to do that. It's for free, and we invite you all to uh, to give yourself this opportunity to receive remote healing from us here in Tasmania in our energy enhancement system room.
Yeah. And Tony.
Yeah, and also as a offer, if you come down and see us, the first session will be complimentary. So please come down, try us out, see what you think, and and just feel the benefit. A lot of people have just sort of stepped into the room. They can feel the positive energy coming out of the 24 unit. Please come and try us out.
And the good thing too is that we are happy to pick you up if you decide to come and explore this part of Tasmania. We can pick you up from Hobart Airport, and we can give you a list of all the wonderful bushwalks that you can do in this area. It's phenomenal. It's just exquisite part of Tasmania. And of course, there is the Tasman cruise, which is absolutely wonderful as well. So come and we'll pick you up, and we'll find you somewhere. If you let us know in advance, we can organize somewhere for you all to have accommodation as well. So that's part of the service.
Yeah, we take care of you so you don't get any stress at all. We'll look after you.
There we go. Incredible. And just to give some context, so you're based in Nubina in Tasmania. Tell us about exactly, so for those around the world, Tasmania is that where the Tassie Devil's from. It's that little V island on the bottom of Australia. So you've got Australia, which is called the evil mainland, and we have beautiful Tasmania on the bottom.
Yes.
Where Tassie Devil is from. Whereabouts exactly in Tasmania are you?
We're southeast of Hobart. We're an hour and a half from Hobart, an hour and a quarter from the airport. And
we're very close to Port Arthur. Port Arthur is kind of like a very famous historical site, and we're about 10 minutes from Port Arthur. So if you don't know Nubina, just look up Port Arthur and you'll find it.
Yeah, and we're surrounded by water, and it keeps our climate very temperate.
Because I can see in this photo.
Yeah,
I can
let's go to that is Parsons Bay, and so we're surrounded by lots of water, lots of hills, lots of nature. It's just a perfectly restful, peaceful place to rejuvenate yourself.
That's right.
Wow, there you go. So I can see in this photo, look, beautiful photo. I can sort of see, so that's the main room. You can see the energy emitters around the top of the room. I can see beautiful, love your skylight, beautiful skylights, by the way. Love that. And I can see through. So what's that bay called again? That beautiful bay I can see through the window?
Parsons Bay.
Parsons Bay.
Parsons Bay. And we live in a beautiful Tasman eco village as well. So, and we've got comfortable recliners in the room. So all you have to do is to come into the room, sit on those recliners, lay back, close your eyes, and just enjoy.
I might just do a panoramic scan if that's all right, Ed.
Yeah, sure. Hang on, I'll go to. I want to make. Hang on, I want to make you guys the stars of the show. I don't want to do that. I want to make you the star of the show. There we go. I want to make me the star of the show. There we go. Totally butchering my experience. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Wow.
So I'll just go for a little walk. I'll take you for a tour.
Yeah, go for it.
So we've got some beds there. So we also offer overnight. And with the overnight, that's probably the best because your body's asleep and it's a good time to repair and rejuvenate. So we've got couches. We've also got a massage chair, and we've also got another therapeutic. Do you want to sort of talk about the crystal beds?
infrared.
We've got infrared, we've got crystals, we've
Wow.
got lots of devices and things like that to help us recover quickly.
Yep, there's the V light over there.
So we've got
V-light.
V-light's very good for your brain.
Yep.
So
And
just
that
down there,
helps with
strokes
strokes, Parkinson's,
and things
and
like
brain
that.
trauma, accident, traumatic brain injury. It's also
And what about
brilliant
this bed?
for
Do
it.
you want to just go through this one?
Yeah.
The PMF.
So this is this spectacular. It's called the PMF mat, and it has infrared. It also has the what we call the goggles. It helps with the brain balancing. It helps, and it's got a feedback system there as well. And we have the solfeggio sound. So it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful device that helps to rebalance the body. So this is very comfortable.
And
So
we got
you
the
can lie on
spinalator.
that. And then this is called the spine fit bed. It scans the spine. It pulls up like a bed, like that works. And then it scans the spine. And then it massages the spine, it stretches the spine, and it heats up the spine as well. So we have wonderful, wonderful devices here for you all to come and play with when you get here.
And when you're on these equipment, because of the EE system,
It magnifies
the
benefits.
benefits. Yep.
So that makes sense.
We've got
So
a
you
lot
have
of good things for everybody.
So that makes a lot of sense. So you have your healing room with all these advanced different technologies with the energy system around it. So that's I got to say, now we're unpacking it. It's a very logical system. So I quite like it.
Yep. We like it too.
We love it. We love it. And it's just incredible. I'd like to share one. This is from we've got a lot of shares all over the world, but there's one specific one that I really like in terms of it's like you don't have to believe in it for it to give you benefit. It's like we had one of our clients with her parents. They came from Sydney to visit her, so she brought them here. And I remember talking to the father, I said to the father, "Do you know anything about this energy enhancement system?" He says, "No, I've just come for a ride with my daughter." So I said, "Okay." So they came and they did the 2-hour session, and then they went, and they just kind of like quietly left, and there was no feedback of any such things. But then the next day, the daughter rang me up. She said, "You wouldn't believe it. My dad, how he just came for the ride. Well, he's 80% better. He's had hip problems for 5 years. Right? He's 80% better."
Wow.
And then they kind of like went back to Sydney. And then she rings me up another couple of weeks later. She said, "My mom, she had great difficulty trying to walk with her bung knee. You know what she's doing now? She's on the exercise bike, riding the bike." So that is,
There's so many good stories.
It's kind of like it's lovely to see that this thing is not dependent on what you believe or what you don't believe.
Yeah.
It's dependent on whether you are prepared to come and give yourself the 2 hours, close your eyes, and just see what your cells can do by being nurtured with the extra charge and reduce your stress and reduce your anxiety and your depression and all those things. And then, your cells can do incredible things.
Incredible. Now, I just want to say a big thank you. This is amazing. We have the details on the screen. So again, TasGraceSanctuary.org, or of course as well, please reach out to Tony and Sharada directly. And if anyone watching, if you want an intro to them as well, message me directly. I can introduce you to them as well. So I gotta say, Sharada and Tony, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real eye opener for me. Just before we finish up, I'd just love to hear anything else you'd love to say. We'd love to hear it. Just want to hear your closing thoughts. We'll go Tony's closing thoughts, and Sharada will finish on your closing thoughts. So over to you, Tony.
Well, first thing, Ed, I'd like to acknowledge you for putting on this interview for us. We really appreciate that. My closing thought is always make your number one priority your well-being. For you to be a well-being. And mindset's the most important thing. Make sure that you dedicate time, at least half an hour a day, for your own well-being, and, and nurture that bit of self-discipline to do that. And it'll make a big difference to you. And we invite you to come down, and if you've got issues, to do a complimentary session with us. We'd love to see you. We'd welcome you there.
Wow.
Well, for me, I feel, Ed, for me, I feel that the most important thing that we want to remember is that we are powerful. We are the CEO of our inner state of being. We can choose to be miserable, or we can choose to swap it with feeling better. And we have that capacity to do so. And as long as we remember that we're not a victim of how we feel, we are the master of what we want to entertain in our inner state of being. It's our choice.
And just one other last thing. No matter how bad you feel or whatever, you can come back.
Oof.
Doesn't matter what stage you're at. You can come back.
You can come out of it and shine.
That's it.
You make a big comeback. Love it.
Yes, that's right.
Love it. No, it's a pleasure. No, I just want to say a big thank you to Shara and Tony. Again, the details are on screen. And if you're watching this live, a big thank you. If you're watching this interview years in the future, please reach out to Tony and Shara. I've known these amazing power couple for years, and they're amazing. So, Shara and Tony, thank you so much for your time. I just want to say I appreciate you both so very much, and thank you for all you do for us and everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.